So good morning to you all on today, to those that will have an opportunity to watch this. I am Raquel. Welcome to Cafe 10 Mother-Daughter Conversation. This is our very first mother-daughter conversation that we will share to the world because we don't know where to reach it. But I want to introduce my daughters and they will have an opportunity to speak, but we're going to talk about just basic conversation as I talk to them about going back to school, how to prepare for that, some of the things that they face and challenges that they face that I faced even myself. But I first want to introduce and remind some of you and that 21 days with Mom and Me is available. Some of the things we're going to talk about today, maybe some of the things that I might share are in here. It's not only a testimony, but there are prayers, there's declarations and all, but anyways, it's available and all. And then starting Monday, I think it's the 15th, starting on Monday, I'm going to have on YouTube, I'm going to just start going through the devotional on a daily basis, weekly, but taking it daily, and I'll just having a time of devotion. And so without further ado, again, I'm going to introduce my daughters, Tiana and Tarina, and we're again going to talk about some of the challenges that they might face, some of the wins, some of the things mainly around the topic of how you transition. And I thought it was interesting for them to share because they are transitioning in certain things as far as we're talking about the kids going back to school, etc. So I'm going to have each one of them introduce themselves and kind of share the dynamic as we protect the identity of my grandbabies. But again, I will let you know, my name is Raquel. I have 6 grandbabies. I love them all and it's exciting. I had them over this summer and it was exciting having all of them together, fixing breakfast for them. It was an amazing time. So that's Mima. But Tiana, if you can get off mute and share with us a little bit about the dynamic of your family, and then we'll go to Tarina.
So as she said, my name's Tiana. I'm the oldest. I have 2 kids. I have a middle schooler in 7th grade, and then I also have an elementary kiddo in 5th grade. So this will be my youngest last year for elementary school and the 2nd year of middle school for my oldest.
And we're gonna ask Tiana to raise her volume, please.
Oh my goodness.
This is a lot of fun because Tiana doesn't like to take pictures or be on camera. So, but she has a lot to share and stuff. So she's the one that has the middle schooler and the elementary getting ready to go to pre-middle school, and it's cool. So Tarina, this is the champion of moms. She's got her Saturday gear on. You gotta get off mute. So it'll be fun if one of the kids come running there right now. But anyways, tell us about you, your dynamic.
So my name is Tarina and I am a military spouse. So we just moved back here to the mainland. I have 4 kids, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-month-old. So that's probably what you hear in the background.
Champion.
So for us, we have our 6-year-old, he'll be starting kindergarten. And then my 4-year-old will be going to preschool. And then my 3-year-old and the 5-month-old, because I just recently got a job, they will be going to school in the same facility as me. So our transition is me going to work because I've been a stay-at-home mom for the past 4.5 years. So now it's me working and my children going to school and daycare.
Cool. Well, Tiana, the transition, I remember when we were, first, let those of you that don't know me and what have you, and us and our dynamic of our family. I was divorced for 17 years, and in those years I was raising the girls. They were really young. I think Tiana was 8, Tarina was 4. And so I went through many school throughout the school years, every year. Some years were more challenging than others. And of course, one of the biggest challenges was transitioning from having help to not having the help. Now, not to discredit their dad, he was not a deadbeat dad. He was in their picture. He's still part of the family as far as grandpa and what have you. And we were just divorced, and I raised them during that time. And their dad lived out of state and all. So, but Tiana, as you're going through this change with the oldest grandson, of course, we're going to protect their names unless they feel comfortable sharing them. You know what? Him being in middle school, and now you didn't only to help some of those moms out there, say at your age group, who you were on your way in. I mean, you were working, but there were some things that took place that you moved and what have you. Talk about those transitions that you had, and then going to a new school, and then he's middle school.
So at the end of halfway through his last year of elementary school, we did move cities. So he had been at the previous elementary school since kindergarten, and had the expectation, of course, of going to middle school with the friends that he had for 4 or 5 years at that point. So the first transition was moving to a whole new city, and then also moving right before he started middle school, just to try to ensure that as he goes through middle school and high school, he's in one area, hopefully trying to have, building those friendships and some form of familiarity. And it was a tough transition, for him as well as for us, in having to adjust. Going from elementary school to middle school is one transition, and then of course going to a whole new school where you don't know anybody was a whole other type of transition as well. So for me, it was just trying to keep that line of communication open with him, whether it was, relating to feelings. Every day it was, how was your day? How, what are you seeing? What are you experiencing? And I'm not naive to the fact that I didn't get every single detail about every single day, but there was enough that was shared that allowed me to, be some form of support, because it's not, going from elementary school to middle school is not an easy transition as it is. And then of course, in a whole new city makes it even more challenging. So I think the biggest thing throughout both transitions was just being supportive and having the communication and being a sounding board if you needed to. My kids know that I have very vocal children, which is complete opposite for me. They did not get that from me at all. And I tell them, I have no problem with you guys telling me your opinion, as long as it's done so in a respectful manner. And as long as you realize that you might not get the response that you want from me. But I think that has helped for both of them, really. It's just knowing that they can, talk about whatever they need to talk about, just be respectful throughout the whole conversation.
Now that is so funny, because they do take you up on that. They do.
Yes.
They do take you up on the fact that they are able to express what they have to say. And it's funny, because we had that at home, except the dynamic in our home is that you were the quiet one and Tarina spoke on your behalf. And I never really got
Still
that,
does.
but you got the benefit of Tarina expressing. Now the age difference is about 4 years, right? 4 years?
Four and a half.
4.5 years. So there is definitely a difference. That is, were like, night and day, but Tarina had the tendency to still express and say what you were feeling and thinking, and you weren't going to say that. So you benefited from her being, and in your case, you have two who are very expressive, which is a lot of fun from my perspective, because I raised you all that way, so I'm not offended. I remember the first time that I heard Janelle call you girl. And I think I heard her yesterday when we were on the phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds so funny. But it's not disrespectful. Because we do that when we have that. And and you establish that, you establish a relationship where now I don't condone, I don't agree with when you're raising them a certain, at a certain age, that they're your BFF. That's totally different, because you're establishing a place of comfort and a safe place for them to have a conversation with you. But they also know this is mom, this is dad, and they have that respect, but they're not, it's not where they could be oppressed and they can't talk. So that's fun watching from this perspective. I didn't have anybody to tell me that from me, but I'm able to see it in mine. And I like sometimes when you put me on mute on the phone, I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah. She's got to be mom in there. So Tarina, share with us. You weren't just the stay-at-home mom. You were busy when you got to Hawaii and then now in the mainland and stuff, and then the transitions and stuff. So share that as far as your road of transition from where you were, say 5 years ago to now.
Yeah, so when we went to Hawaii, we went with Sam, and I was pregnant with Christian. And so the plan was for me to work, and I wanted to work. I always wanted to work. I saw my mom work and she took care of us. So to me, in my head, I was like, I can do it too. And so when we got to Hawaii, I had Christian, and then after that, the company that I was working for, they were really good. And they were like, okay, do your 6 weeks and then you can come to work. So I worked for 6 months. And in those 6 months of me working is an income that we needed for that time. And once those 6 months were up, we no longer needed that income anymore. And then the person that was taking care of the boys, they were like, I can no longer take care of them anymore. So I had to stop working. And it was hard for me to be a stay-at-home mom, because I felt like at the beginning, I felt like, okay, well, what do I do? Like, I'm not contributing to my family. Like, I always thought that in my, me bringing in income was me contributing to the family. But I learned with being a stay-at-home mom that my home and how I set the tone for my home is me contributing to my family. And so there was some trying times, and I'm sure probably later on we'll get into that part, but I had to adjust. So eventually I thought of my home as my job. So cooking, cleaning, and I just enjoyed it. It was an adjustment, having to get used to, okay, that as far as your role, like what is my role? And so I had to adjust to that. And I think being a stay-at-home mom, it can be hard because you're in these four walls, especially if you have little kids. And especially if you're living on an island where there's really not much you can do but just go to the beach. Yeah. All you could do is go to the beach or go to the playground. And it's boring after a while for you as a parent. And so I think that one of the biggest advices that I would give to a stay-at-home mom is to find a hobby, find something that you like, whether it's the cricket or it's reading books or something that you can have for yourself that you actually make time for when your kids take a nap or you have quiet time, something, you know, like that to keep you sane and to keep you
Mhm.
looking forward to, okay, and that time I'm working on a
Time.
craft or at, yeah, exactly. And it's okay to take naps. Okay. Take a nap.
Take
You
a
need to take a
nap.
nap, take a nap. But so with us coming to Missouri, I definitely was not planning on working because I had a baby. And we always said that I wouldn't work until the kids go back to school because childcare is expensive. Um, well, thankfully I was, well, not thankfully, but I was presented with the opportunity to work at the CDC, which is it's called Child Development Center, which is a daycare, but it operates as a school on the military base. And the 3 younger kids will be there with me. I can nurse if I need to nurse. They have a nursing room there. The kids are literally right down the hallway from me. And Sam will be going with his dad, who will be getting picked up with my husband. That's his dad. That sounded bad. He'll be getting picked up after school. And he'll be going, you know, with dad to work. And so it is an adjustment because it seems like since we came back from Hawaii, we have not stopped. Like every time I try getting us on a routine, we're good for like a week or two and then something comes up. And so now I feel like things are kind of starting to slow down once you know, getting the schedule and stuff. So that was a big transition with going from being a stay-at-home mom for about 5 years to now me working. And I think the one thing that it doesn't bother me, but it does come to mind is that I don't want to miss anything with the baby. Because with all 3 of them, I saw them walk, I saw them crawl, I heard the first words. And with the baby, I'm like, okay, if you're gonna crawl on the weekend, because don't crawl. Yeah, let me hear your first words, you know. So that's something that does come to mind, is that I just don't want to miss anything with you because I didn't miss anything with the other 3.
That I think that part is pretty. It's almost a misconception almost. Well, it is when you think, oh my gosh, like you say, you know, you better, you know, do your first crawl on a Saturday, you know, versus on during the week when you're in daycare. But you know what? You won't even know that. You'll be excited. He will have crawled from you know, in daycare, and then he comes home and that's your first crawl, that's your first experience. And all because that is one of the things I think probably messes with our minds as moms, is I'm gonna miss something. But I learned as the times that I was with you all, I remember telling myself I'm gonna be the best mom I can be in this season, in this time. And you do go through seasons, Trina. You were, of course, obviously in a time of a season where you were building, having children, doing those things, and now you've transitioned. And one thing we have to remember is it's okay to get out of routine, because you can't keep the same routine. If Tiana, you kept the same routine when the kids were, you know, younger, before middle school and where they are now, you would be in trouble and frustrated. So it's okay, you know, if the season changes, the routines are going to change. And as obvious as that sounds, I think it brings frustration. And it's okay to be frustrated, but don't stay there. You know, that's my thing. You know, don't say that. I remember just, you know, feeling those things. And again, as you all are sharing, when I was growing up, or when I was younger with the girls and my mom in our house, you know, most in the Hispanic, Black community, depending on what your background is, my mom, there was this time that when I had Tiana, I had 2 sister-in-laws and a sister. My mom had like 5 or 6 babies in her house, and her and my dad were caring for them. And nowadays, the mimas, the mother, like myself, there are some I think that are, you know, still can contribute to that. But for me, I'm in a different city, different state for where you all at. And I'm not ready to stay home and take care of my grandchildren. I love them when they come and visit, and I go and visit. I love all of that. But I feel there's still a lot for me to contribute because I'm also building a legacy, so I still have a part. So, in the lives of my grandchildren and in the lives of my daughters, and I'm more than just a weekend mima. A lot of what I do on my day-to-day is intentional for building that legacy for them. So that's where nowadays that multi-generational, the millennials with the baby boomers or what have you, we still have a contribution in their lives, even though I'm not raising them. Y'all have your husbands and stuff, you have the dynamics of your home. And of course, planning what you all do on your day-to-day with them makes a difference, because if husband is away working and all, then you're, taking care of the kids. And that's one of the things I would share as far as, like say Serena, you're in the military community, of course, and Tiana, of course, is not the military part, but how is that viewed when you're talking about maybe, people you share or what you see with, okay, dad is working, but mom's at home, I don't feel significant or what have you. How did you handle that part of you transitioning your mindset for your identity? How did you all handle, some of those transitions?
I think for me, it was kind of the opposite of Tarina's experience, in a sense, because I worked all the way up until almost exactly a year ago, or a little over a year ago. So I've been, and it's even hard for me to really say like a stay-at-home mom.
You don't use that word.
For a year. And the reason why I say it's hard for me to say is because my kids are in school, and they have been. So I remember the first time I dropped them off for school last year, and I was like, okay, what do I do? Kind of like what, Tarina was talking about, just kind of just finding, yourself and finding just how you contribute. And I knew that one thing that I wanted to try to make sure, because my husband works about 6 days a week usually, and they're pretty long hours. One thing I was trying to be very adamant about, especially with me being home, was that I did not want him to almost like regret, or not so much regret, like come home and it be like an uncomfortable atmosphere. So even though I was trying to adjust to the situation, and the kids were even trying to adjust to me being home, saying, oh, Mom, you want to come to the school today? No, Mommy doesn't, want to spend all day at your school. I wanted to make sure, or work towards making sure that, the home was a home atmosphere, was a comfortable, welcoming atmosphere for both when, my husband and the kids came home. So it was definitely, not to say that when I was working, it wasn't like that, but it was, because it was a transition and an adjustment for myself. It was really an adjustment for all of us as a whole. And like Tarina mentioned, still finding, that contributing and making sure that the home is okay and the kids are taken care of is contributing to the household, and making sure that, we are still functioning as a family.
Yeah. Now, how does that work as far as homework? I know when you shared about, I'm sure and Tarina will be able to, was getting ready to find that out, but I know that when you share about the times, how do you, structuring your day with the homework that they do and how they do work. Now, I some of the math and some of the stuff you share, I am so grateful that I'm not in that place. How is that? I mean, how do y'all work through, through that?
Google helps. I mean, at the end of the day, Google helps. Yeah. Because kids don't have, at least mine don't have actual textbooks nowadays. So, it gives you a little bit of a flashback trying to, remember. And there were times when the husband came home and he had to help us out, as well. And I think there was one day where you and his mom were here and y'all helped us with the history crossword puzzle or something like that. So, You know, and it's just taking the time to do it. And I'm very adamant with my two every time I pick them up. Do you have homework? What do you have to do? And you know, they know homework in school comes first. They have other activities, yes, but if you can't read or write, then you know, what good are you to anybody or to yourself? So you know, so we do. It's it takes time. We haven't had too many nights, or we didn't have too many nights where we were up, you know, really late, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happens, you know, because this is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
Now the fun, that reminds me of, Tarina was the one, it was, oh my gosh. Tarina was the one that always, well, most of the time, Tarina, you would, I used to have to go through your backpack, and we make a joke, say I went through your backpack even as you went through college, because with Tiana, I remember, you know, by fourth grade, you were pretty disciplined, that after that you had homework, you sat down. That was not Tarina. So, you know, understand that your children are different. And so your expectations, when I was expecting from Tarina, what I got from Tiana, I realized really quick, it wasn't going to be that way. So I had to literally check her backpack for homework. We were often, gosh, maybe more than twice. We were at Walmart at 9 o'clock at night, picking up stuff for a science project or just a school project. Because for some reason, for Tarina, it just didn't, I'm not gonna say it didn't click. That was just her personality. So, you know, now that I see you, Tarina, with the kids, you know, because you have your four, and I see you with the kids and stuff, and how you kept, I mean, I was really, when I went to see you in Hawaii, and I saw how you had the room, their playroom set up like a classroom. I mean, I was like, where was this little girl? Where was this little girl when she was, you know, in third, fourth, and fifth grade, who could not get herself organized? And yet here she is as an adult with 4 babies, and had everything in bins. And I'm like, I didn't tell you this, but I'm like, where was all of this hidden? I don't know, but it was in there. So, and you're getting ready to find out, you know, with the kids, with Sam going to school and stuff, you know, how that part, because his school in Hawaii is different to now, and you're going to be, you know, what is it that you see about him that you can
Yeah, so Sam is black and white. Like, this is black, this is white, that's it. So
he's so cute.
I do see in him me where he wants to, it's like, okay, you got to do this first, we got to do homework first before we do this. And I think honestly, I kind of see kids are like that anyways, but he does enjoy doing his homework. He likes doing school stuff.
That wasn't you. That wasn't
and
you.
It definitely wasn't me at
you
all.
You wanted to come home and take a nap when I picked you up from your grandma's.
Yeah, I did. I really did. But with the kids, I don't know, I just taught them to really be organized. Like their shoes, they take their socks off, and their socks go inside their shoes. Like they're just very structured. And it's like, it's real structured, and sometimes it's like, okay, right now we don't need to be structured, just hurry up, you know. So it kind of comes back. Yeah, it kind of backfires. But you know, for like I was sharing before, it was hard. I knew when Luke and I got married that he was really, when he's at work, you know, call him if it's an emergency. For the most part, it was just texting. And with the military, everything is fast paced, things change all the time. So I can't be sitting up here, hey, what are you doing? You know, like we can't have, you know, like, why are you calling me right now? You know, like I'm at work. So, you know, so we can't really do that. And so when we were in Hawaii, it was so fast paced. He was always gone. He was in the field. He was in JROTC. So it was, it really was a moment for me to understand who I was as a mom and as a wife. And I had my moments where I would tell him like, okay, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, or but it was really a moment of molding me to that point of where how I want my home to be and stuff. So I do, I do what I can. I not what I can, but I really do try and make things peaceful, because when it's not, you know, but it is, but it's okay for us to have that conversation. Because I mean, there are times when I feel like I'm not being appreciated, and I think any mom could feel that way. Just like sometimes your spouse might feel like they're not being appreciated, but when you have the kids and you have the house, you have activities, you have homework, you have all these things going on, um it can get overwhelming, and you can feel like everything is just on me. So that's where I feel like, one, talk to your husband about it, and two, also have something for yourself where you can digress from everything that's going on throughout the day, because it's not going to stop. Like, being moms, like, I've just learned that there's just something about being a mom and the things that we can handle that it's just not going to go away.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and that's true. We have certain instincts, I believe, that God has given us, and some of us are a little bit more sensitive to those, others are not. And everything, and it is very hard to be selfish and happy at the same time when you have children, because you have these little ones that are constantly pulling on you and what have you. Homework was always a big deal in our house. I remember, of course, you all used to go to grandma's, and then when you went to middle school, Tiana, then that was a transition for me, because now you were a latchkey kid. And I don't know if that happens a whole lot nowadays, but that's what you were. But I was so close to home that I was comfortable, and we didn't have cell phones. So you actually had to get into the house and physically call me and say, I'm already indoor with the house, with the doors locked. But you do, and you work with what you have, and you do the best that you can. Oh, there's my baby. Hi, Papas. Hi there. Oh my gosh, he ain't liking the camera.
Look at me.
And stuff. But they are in a place of where you are in demand. I think that's the place that but it's so rewarding. You don't see the reward right away and what have you, but I guarantee you, when we begin to, especially in school, that is so important, because they spend so much time away from you, that when you do have them and they're home, we've got to make that a quality time. So Tiana, we've talked about this as far as with baby girl. This is her last year in elementary. Oh my gosh, that's hard to believe. It's going to be so exciting to see that. And things are different. The personality is different from when you were going to middle school and what have you, and getting her ready for that place, because it is a different world in middle school, and I know it is more so now. So how is that, especially for this year, what starting off now, of course, what are some of the ideas or thoughts or things that you have that you can share, in place that will prepare her for that next? Because it's different with boys and girls, and you keep them busy. You keep them in activities and stuff. How is that?
I mean, I talked to her a lot about just trusting her instincts. And one thing that I do tell her, quite a bit, and I've been very adamant about, is because she is a very friendly child, she likes to make friends, she likes to enjoy herself, she likes to have fun. That's just her. Again, she is not her mama at all. But I one thing I did tell her that I harp on quite a bit is, when you have, or you get to know somebody and they show you who they are and their personality and how they work, then you need to take that for what it is. and not try to change them, not try to work around it, not try to change yourself. And I harp on that a lot with her because of her personality, because she is so outgoing and just, you know, a really just fun type of kid. You know, I don't want her to lose that or to change that for anyone. So I am very, you know, adamant about that. Just, you know, once you know who somebody is and you kind of see, you know, things about them that you don't like or, you know, that aren't right, you know right from wrong, and you got to take it for what it is. Don't have to be mean to people. Don't have to, you know, talk down to people. Just some people are just meant to be, you know, kept at a distance, and not, you know, not really close to the vest like we might want for them to be. And, you know, that's just a part of life, and a part of growing up is, you know, just knowing, you know, who you can keep close to you and who you can't, because especially once going from elementary school to middle school, you are exposed to so many more people. You know, now they have associated probably with 2 classes, you know, maybe a total of, you know, 45 kids, and they're going to go to having 8 different classes, and, you know, seeing kids all over the place, and it'll be a different experience and a different type of exposure and stuff as well. So I, you know, try to get her to just at least understand that now as she prepares for that transition here soon.
Yeah, real soon, because the school years are so short. But that's so important because of on the emotional side. You know, the sooner that a child understands at their level their emotions and how to navigate through that, I'll tell you, it'll make it so much easier. I struggled in school. I was not the most popular. I didn't have all the friends, and there were certain experiences that I had that I was able to sort of filter that emotionally. Some things I did well, some I've had to deal with them as I got older, but I was able to help you, you know, you, Tiana and Tarina, with some of the things, kind of forewarn you, like, okay, you know, there's a difference and what have you, and you can be treated differently, but with different generations and what have you, and with so much that is so exposed, you almost have to stay 2 steps ahead of the kids, and also. So Tarina, I take it that you are nursing. He's eating.
Yeah.
The boy is eating and stuff. So as we get ready to close, I just I'll close out with something else. But did you want to share something else, Tarina? Because there'll be some more segments we'll cover. I wanted just to really cover about the transitions, and I know that both of y'all have busy days, or a busy Saturday with the kiddos and all and stuff. But is there something else you want to share before I get ready to stop the recording? And then we'll continue, because I want to see my baby.
No, not anything I could think of. Not anything I could think of right now.
So we'll be able, the next time we talk, we'll be able to hear how Christian and, oops, I exposed his name.
Oh, I already said their name.
She already said his name.
Yeah.
Christian. We just gotta talk about baby Leah. Now that's it. We're just waiting to see what Leah. Tiana, share that one incident of Janelle. Oop, darn it, we just said her name. Sorry.
So she, when she was in kindergarten, and then the teachers have an app where they can give you like daily updates, you know, as things are going on. And she needed to go to the bathroom, and her friend needed to go to the bathroom, and her teacher told them, well, both of you can't go together because, you know, they don't have bathrooms in the classroom like they did when I was growing up. So she said, you know, your friend will go first and then you will. And my daughter didn't like that response. So she threw her shoe at her kindergarten teacher, and her teacher was so sweet. She was so cute and so sweet. You know, I can appreciate the fact that she knew that was not normal behavior. So she didn't, like, you know, jump on my child about it, but she, just said, hey, just so you know, had a shoe thrown at me today. And you kind of think, well, dang, that never happened at home. Like, you don't do that at home. So it's like,
Why are we throwing shoes?
why are we throwing shoes at school? But okay, we'll talk about it. It's those moments as a parent where, you laugh in secrecy. And then when you look at the child, it's a whole different face. But we had no more shoes thrown after that. So
Yeah, and we definitely don't advocate, violence and what have you. But I think
No.
going back to the emotion of being kindergarten away, what do you mean I can't go to the bathroom? Here you go. So it is something to laugh at, but yeah, and then to address that, you kind of, when it's not a normal thing,
yeah,
kind of like, how do I handle that? Or do I?
Yeah.
That's always really funny. But I want to quickly close out with in the devotional on page 21. The topic here is just godly wisdom is a treasure, and that there's a little bit of a writing that I did on here on Proverbs 8:13 through 22, and it has a prayer and declaration pretty much relating to, because one thing that I did do, I want to definitely share, I'd be remiss not to, is that I prayed a lot for with my daughters. And I prayed for God to give me wisdom as to how to raise them, because I recognized that they did not, I was actually called out by God to let me know that they didn't belong to me. So all these conversations that hopefully we'll continue to have are really a result from a lot of the wisdom and teaching that God gave me. Now, wisdom didn't just come from above. There was things in place at home, keeping a place where it was safe. There was prayer. There was the conversation of God. One of the ways that I did discipline them is based on, I use the Bible. There was times that the mornings were really, really a challenge. And it was one of those mornings that they were fussing. On the way to school, they usually got a sermon. I usually had something to say as far as what the Bible says. But, in any way possible that I could get that across to them, that God was important. He was part of our lives. It's part of the disciplining. It was our lifestyle. That's really what it was. It was a lifestyle in our home. And that's why I truly believe that we are where we are now. Not because we're perfect, not because, no, they were raised in a home, where, mom, there wasn't a man in the house, there wasn't a husband. And so my relationship with God was important. I needed my sanity, and I found it in Christ and in a relationship with him. And I instilled that. When God started to show me that, I would regurgitate to them what God would give me. And I did that out of obedience, and sometimes even out of fear, because I did not want them to grow up without Christ in their life. That was a lot of times my prayer, Lord, that when they get older, I don't care if they have a degree or not, that's aside, that they will have a relationship with you. And that's independent. That should always be the desire of a mother, who is connected with God, not to pass judgment on anybody, but that was our life. That was my lifestyle at home, is that I needed God in my life to be able to raise them, because I did not know how to do it. When Tiana went to middle school, I prayed, said, Lord, I told him what he knew, but I let him know I have teenagers are coming up. She's getting ready to go to middle school. What do? I need you to help me, because I don't know how to do that. And he did. He taught me how to do that. And a lot of these teachings having to do with me and how I did it and what my lifestyle was and you can follow that in YouTube. And then on Facebook, I do have a private page, Woman to Women, one woman affecting thousands of women, one woman at a time. I think if we touch the lives of one person, including starting with our daughters, then they can carry the torch to impact their generation and the generations to come. And that's always my prayer. So I pray that you will be blessed with this. I look forward to us having more conversations and just making it fun, but also informative, to let you know that we are not alone. Someone out there is facing the same things that we are facing, that my daughters are facing. Me as a grandma, as Mima, or also known as Mama, that's Luke's way of calling me and stuff, or, and all, I inherited two sons and all, and I respect their marriages and and what have you. But anyways, it was fun. I enjoyed it and all, and I pray that you all were blessed and that you get something from it. And I look forward to another mother-daughter conversations. That is it. We will talk to you all soon. Say bye, girlies. Bye. Hasta luego.